Hello, what's up? Welcome back to Swanky Disc Golf. Today, we have a fun video for you guys. We're counting down the top 5 best distance drivers for beginners. This list is not exclusive to beginners. If you're a noodle arm like me, this list is also for you. We're going to count down the top 5 as voted on by you guys, the subscribers. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and we're gonna start off with some honorable mentions. Honorable mentions. Understable 9 speeds, any single one, take your pick. We got Escapes, the CD1 from Discmania, the Dynasty from Infinite Discs, the Lift from Streamline. Every company has one, the Undertaker. And if you're not quite ready for that 10 to 12 to 14.5 speeds out there, pick one of these up. Try them out. Once you get used to these, then move on to distance drivers. Because the distance drivers we're gonna be talking about, I do believe they're still for beginners, but it's after you've already thrown putters, mid-ranges, fairways, and you're ready for your first distance driver. This list is for you. Number 5, we have the Clash Discs Wild Honey. I absolutely love this disc. For those of you who don't know, Clash Discs has some of the best plastic on the market. I believe they're out of Finland, and their plastic is always absolute money. They have a couple different options for you. They have these new double steady honeys. They're really cool. There's nothing really significantly different in the flight of the overmold or blended mold technology. They are a little bit more overstable. They look really cool and we like innovation, so shout out for that. But the just normal steady honey is gonna be a little bit more understable. This is gonna be a super straight flyer. If you have a bigger arm, you're going to get a ton of distance out of this, and this will stick with you a little bit longer. Like I said, this list is not exclusive to beginners. Intermediates, advanced players are using the honey, and they absolutely love them. If you're a very beginner and this is your very first distance driver, it might be a little bit on the overstable side for you, but you'll learn with it, you'll grow with it, and it's gonna be a great option coming in at number 5.
All right, before we jump into number 4, I wanna let you guys know if you're a beginner disc golfer looking for fresh new apparel heading into these cold weather months, check out Flippy Disc Golf. They've got you covered, everything from hoodies and sweatshirts and windbreakers down to their Soul Pro polos and jerseys. They've even got shorts and socks now. They're covering all your bases. They're gonna provide you with everything that you need on the course to look fresh and stylish. These new hoodies that we're wearing in this video are actually a part of the new Swanky Fall collection. We've got this pattern in a hoodie as well as a polo, so you can head on over to flippydiscgolf.com and look at the Swanky Disc Golf collection to check out this and much more. They've got other creators collections as well, and they're doing custom apparel. So if you and your doubles partner need a fresh new look for your tournament coming up, or you and your disc golf league want to get something printed with your names on the back, you can do all of that through flippydiscgolf.com. So be sure you head on over to Flippy Disc Golf, use code STAYSWANKY at checkout for 10% off, and you guys can look this sick on the course. All right, coming in at number 4 is the most overstable disc on this list by a decent margin, and that's the Latitude 64 Grace. And while it was getting a lot of votes, there were also a lot of comments that the Grace isn't a beginner disc. And while it is not as understable as the other discs on this list, I do think it's good for beginners for a couple of reasons. The first being that with its overstability, it's more torque resistant, and that's great for forehand players. It's not the type of disc that you're gonna chop on anhyzer that's gonna teach you bad form, but it is the kind of disc that will teach you a good, solid, flat release, get a little bit of turn, and fade at the end. Whereas a lot of these discs on this list, if you get a good forehand release, it will turn and burn to the left because they just don't have that torque resistance. So for forehand players, the Grace is great, especially as a beginner. And then for backhand dominant players, it is the step up from the other discs on this list, but it will grow with you. This is the type of disc that's never gonna leave your bag. This could be your main distance driver all the way through your advanced playing. It can be a huge power S-line drive, or as you're just starting out, maybe you're just throwing it on hyzers or flat to hyzer shots to get where you need to go on the fairway, but it's going to grow with you, and that makes it a great beginner option. So that's number 4, the Grace.
All right, we are into the top 3, the podium finishes. Coming in at number 3, we have the DD from Discmania. This is a new mold that came out recently. It is an understable 11 speed, 11.6, -3.2. Admittedly about this, you do feel a little bit of that 2 fade on it. I think this is a great choice for beginners. You're gonna be able to throw it straight. You might get a little bit of turn on it. It is not crazy understable though, to where it's gonna keep turning to the right for you. If you're looking for a disc as a beginner that's just gonna flip up, turn to the right, and stay to the right, this is not necessarily gonna do that for you. More intermediate and advanced players, it will, but that 2 fade does come into play, so you can consider that. But it's an 11 speed, whereas some of the 12 speeds on this list, you can feel the 11 speed rim. It's much more comfortable. This is great first or second distance driver, and it's gonna stick with you a little bit. S-line plastic out of Discmania is insane. It's super durable. You're gonna be able to throw it into a bunch of trees, and you'll be able to hold on to these discs for a while longer with that little bit extra stability. Definitely recommending the DD.
Coming in at number 2 is a cult classic in the beginner disc golf scene, and that is the Innova Mamba. This is a super understable disc. I think definitely the most understable disc on this list. Coming in at 11.6, -5.1. This is an extremely flippy driver, but it is a really great option for beginners. It's not quite as understable as the numbers might suggest at the beginning, but as you beat it in, that -5 is gonna start to show itself. And it makes it just this effortless shot. If you need something that's turning all the way to the right, it's a lot more effortless than trying to get some higher speeds or some more overstable discs to do that same thing. You don't have to put this on Anheuser. You don't have to shot shape this quite as much. You just throw this and it's going to move right. So that makes it a great option. This is a perfect example of a disc that's not going to grow with you. This is what it is, and as your arm speed grows, you might find this disc falling out of your bag. That doesn't make it a bad option, and it certainly is a great option for a beginner looking to learn how to turn something completely over to the right on these distance lines. So that's the number 2, the Mamba.
All right, the number 1 distance driver for beginners. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let us know what we missed down below. We love doing these. If you want to participate in the polls that choose these, be sure to subscribe. Let's get into it. The number 1 distance driver for beginners is the Sapphire. So I have never thrown a Sapphire before today. I've been very impressed with the disc. 10-speed rim, very comfortable. I personally love 10-speed discs in general. I know people who like up to their intermediate and advanced careers know that they just prefer 10-speed drivers over pretty much anything else. The rim, super comfortable. This one in particular, maybe I'm crazy, was not super understable. It is -2, 1.5, so again, it's gonna have some fade to it. It's not gonna wanna turn and burn on you. It's gonna be a straight flyer. And getting into that 10-speed distance driver zone is gonna be what makes it a really good first distance driver for beginners. You're not gonna have to get it going quite as fast with a really fast arm speed as these 11 and 12 speeds to get the proper flight out of it. Super readily available, pretty cheap. Again, let us know what we missed, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay swanky.